watch their parents or their grandparents cook. I know I did. I'm from a large Italian family. My great-grandparents are from Italy, so we take pride in our cooking and our recipes that are passed down through different families. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make homemade sauce and lasagna. As I grew up, I wasn't allowed in the kitchen when we were younger, but luckily as I got older, I was allowed to cook in the kitchen with my family, my grandparents, and my aunts. And they taught me how to make homemade sauce and lasagna. So that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. So if you love Italian, this is a great recipe. So first, what you're going to do is get your ground beef. I use about 2 pounds. You can use however much you want. I just like a lot of meat in mine. I use ground beef. So what you're going to do is put that in a skillet or in a bowl, in a pot, and put it on your oven. You're going to have it on medium to low heat, so the hamburger will cook all the way through and not just the outside. So you don't want it super hot because you want it to cook all the way through. So what you do after that is I use a whole onion. I chop it up into little pieces, so I use a whole one. I also use a green pepper, a red pepper, and a yellow pepper, and I do use the whole thing. I cut them up in little pieces. Next, what I do is I add my pepperoni. I use the regular size pepperoni, not the small one. It doesn't matter what brand. I also use mushroom, but that's optional. If you don't like mushroom, you don't have to put it in there. Next, what I do is I add some seasoning. I add my cilantro leaves. I add garlic and herbs. I also add Italian seasoning, pepper, and just a little bit of salt. So you let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. You want the onions and the peppers to be sauteed. So you let that cook. After you finish cooking that, you're going to cut up your tomatoes. I use grape tomatoes. I like them better than the cherry tomatoes. But what I do is I just dice them up. So I add that to my hamburger. And then I add my tomato sauce. I use Hunt's. That's the only brand I'll use. And I usually use about 3 tomato sauces. And then I use Hunt's tomato paste. And depending on how thick you want your sauce, you can use less tomato paste, or if you would like it thicker, you can use more. I use about 2. And then after you do that, you just add a couple things of water to it. I use about 2 cups of water in mine. So you're gonna let that boil. You're also gonna add some more cilantro leaves, some parsley, some more Italian seasoning, and also you can't forget oregano. So you let that boil, you bring it to a boil, and then once it's boiling, you bring it down to simmer. You want it to simmer for 30 to 45 minutes. And also, again, depending on the consistency that you want, how thick you want it, you will not cook it as long if you want it loose. And if you want it thicker, you could cook it longer. I usually do mine about 30 to 45 minutes, and it's the consistency that I like. So once that is simmering, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your lasagna noodles and you're gonna boil them. I use the regular lasagna noodles. I don't like the ready-to-bake lasagna noodles, but really any brand works. It doesn't matter what brand. So I put that in the water and bring it up to a boil. I use olive oil to make sure that my noodles don't stick. And then I use salt to bring the boil up quicker. So once you have this boiling, you want to preheat the oven to 350. And then once everything is done, you're going to layer it. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your sauce, you're going to put that on the bottom, then you're going to put your lasagna noodles, and you're going to do your cheese. What I use is provolone and medium cheddar slices, and I also use mozzarella cheese. So what I do is I will put the sauce, put the lasagna noodles, put either the provolone or the cheddar, and keep layering it how you would like it. I usually do about 4 layers, so you keep doing that. And at the top, I put my mozzarella cheese at the top of the lasagna. So when that is done and you're done layering everything, you're gonna pop it in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't really like mine crunchy, so I like mine more soft, so I keep it in there for a less amount of time. So once that's done, you pop it out of the oven, you let it set for about 10 minutes just to cool down, and then you can serve. So this recipe has been passed down generation to generation, and I plan on definitely passing this down to my children, my grandchildren. It's something that I really take pride in being Italian, is knowing how to make my own pasta sauce from scratch. So I really take pride in that, and I hope you enjoy this recipe as well. Thank you.